Hello, I'm Jacob. This is the Prepper's Bunker Outdoors. Today I want to talk to you about a popular topic, likely in a way that nobody else will. The Glock versus the 1911 and why I'm making the switch. Before we get started, let's talk about safety. Both firearms are safe. Both are loaded with one in the chamber. And if you're watching this channel, you should expect nothing else. Let me talk to you first about my experiences with the 1911, specifically the Sig Sauer 1911. Beautiful, sexy, comfortable, an awesome trigger, an easily customizable design. It's been around for a long time and was unquestionably designed by someone who knew what they were doing. This Sig 1911 has been carried for 5 years, has been through a plethora of classes, has seen thousands and thousands and thousands of rounds, and I have trusted it through many of these experiences without hesitation. And therein lies the problem with me. Look at some of the adventures that I've had with this poor little pistol. This pistol's gone to Sig once for the extractor after approximately 5,000 to 7,000 rounds, not because it was malfunctioning, but because of erratic extraction. It's been carried for 5 years. It's been through the entire way of the pistol at Tactical Response, Vehicle Defense with DTI and John Farnham, and everything that I've put it through, to include thousands and thousands of rounds, adventure trips, swimming, mud, and abuse. I mentioned the problem was that I trusted it without question. Here's why. Nobody should trust any weapon without question. You should not be looking for why you made the right choice. You should not be looking for what your firearm is doing right. You are depending your life on this firearm. You need to be looking for how you can improve yourself and looking for any weak points with your weapon. For this Sig, it is the extractor. It's been replaced twice now, and ultimately, after multiple classes, which I saw every firearm malfunction, part of this is, if anybody tells you that their firearm has never malfunctioned, I used to be that guy with this pistol, said it never malfunctioned, you do not have enough training. You have not shot your firearm enough to know its limitations or your own limitations. So by telling someone that you've never had a malfunction, what you are doing is you are telling them that you are inexperienced with that firearm. Whether it be 1911s, Glocks, Canics, XDs, they're all tools. They're all machines. And anytime you add a human element, whether it be cleaning your gun every once in a while or, you know, getting parts replaced when they need to be replaced, every single one can and will fail, even if it's just because your wrists. So then, why am I making the switch away from the 1911 and towards the Glock? The Glock. Ugly. Not nearly as comfortable. Just not appealing. Who looks at a Glock and is like, oh, that's freaking cool? If there's a reason to dislike a firearm, a Glock specifically, I have it. I had a Glock blow up on my uncle, take his eyeball out, and he had to have a bunch of surgeries and stuff, and his vision's going back out now. And like other people, when first firing it, I thought it felt like holding a 2x4. Thought that the trigger sucked. The whole thing just felt like an old pile of crap. But after all of these classes, what I started to see is that the Glocks did do better. When I first held them with their crappy trigger and crappy grip and all of that, they felt terrible, but then I realized I was shooting decent groups with them. Started shooting them some more and realized that with training, the trigger wasn't so bad. The grips weren't so bad. None of that stupid crap that the marketing and the companies are selling you with cool little looking milling and front slide serrations and BS this and garbage that. With a little bit of training, none of that mattered. What mattered was, did it go bang when I wanted it to go bang to the best of its ability, as long as I do my part? Did I hit the target? I started to realize that I was just as accurate with this Glock, with its stock trigger and stock everything, as I was with my 1911, with a longer barrel and with everything else. That was very interesting to me, and although I did see Glocks fail, it was often operator error. It was always operator error. They do fail. I have seen some break, but I started to realize that when I was sending this into Sig and being out of my carry gun for a month or two, that I needed a second. Personally, I can't afford two of these. I can't afford two of these. But what about 45 ACP versus 9mm? Well, here's where everybody is lying to you on both sides of the argument. There's no question that 45 ACP transmits more energy to the target. The simple concept of multiplying speed by weight does not work with these calibers, and that was easy to see when we were doing the Farnham frustrators in the vehicle defense class.
Yes, sir. Pick it up. Are you out?
So, while everybody else with their double stack 9mm were going through multiple mags, multiple double stack magazines, 15 plus rounds, to spin these metal steel targets, I was taking about 4 shots and spinning them. So I don't care what the math of the weight and the speed is, there is more energy going into that target with 45 ACP. But the reality of that statement is that whether you're shooting 9mm or 45 ACP, neither are man-killing calibers. The bottom line, they are not man-stoppers. If you want to stop somebody, you have to hit them in the right place. This is where the 9mm people, or less, start talking about shot placement. But guess what? They're lying too. You know why? Because when you get into a fight, you don't get to pick your shot placement. Even if you are as good of a shooter as you think you are in your mind, in the heat of the moment, in an actual fight, you will miss your intended target, first off. More importantly, you will shoot whatever target your enemy presents to you as many times as you can. Whether it's a pinky finger or a foot or a shoulder or a hip bone, if you get the opportunity to put holes in your target, you will take it. You will not have this little fantasy of, I'm going to put one into his eyeballs or shoot the gun out of his hand. That's not going to happen. This is the problem. You've got stopping power guys. You've got shot placement guys. There's no question that in a firearm, more power is better. Nobody's going to choose 9mm or 45 ACP over 308 if they get to put a round onto the target, or 50 BMG, or else they're a moron. Nobody's going to choose 22 long rifle. Believe it or not, there are ignorant people who argue for the 22 long rifle as a self-defense caliber. It's freaking pathetic. But stopping power or energy on contact, energy is a real thing. Calibers, certain calibers do perform better than other calibers, period, end of story. But neither is a man killer. Neither of these calibers are game changers. Then you have your shot placement guys. This is where the 22 long rifle people come in. The pew 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 guys. I'm gonna shoot him in the heart 17.5 times, or you see the target, I'll post it up here. 9mm guys be like, and they show a target with the whole heart shot out, and then 45 ACP guys be like, and there's like 2 hits on the corners of the target. Okay. First off, that's retarded, because either caliber, if you want to put the person down, shot placement is going to be required, and really anything that you shoot essentially is a timer, not a game ender. But you're not going to get that opportunity. Not only are you not good enough to get that opportunity, I don't care who I'm talking to or who's watching right now, you're not good enough. You watching, you're not. I'm not, nobody is. Nobody is good enough so that we get into a fight and we just go into the matrix and you're like, one in the heart. Hit him. One in his freaking cerebral cortex. Target eliminated. No, it's a crap show. Anybody who's competed or been in a firefight can tell you 28,000 things that went wrong and that they did wrong, no matter how good they are. So, you're not going to get this little fantasy of shot placement. So at the end of the day, your stopping power, knockdown power, stopping power, however you want to define it. If you're going to make a joke about it, you're probably defining it wrong because you're ignorant. Stopping power. Doesn't really matter between 9mm and 45 ACP because they're both close enough to essentially be ineffective. Alright. Don't even bring 380, 32 ACP, or 22 long rifle, 22 mag into this. It's a waste of your time. Okay. So your stopping power doesn't really matter, and your shot placement absolutely matters. You're going to train as much as you can to have the best possible opportunity to get the shot placement that you want. You're going to get in a fight, and you're going to do the best that you can. Okay, with either caliber. So, at the end of the day, which do you choose? Well, like I said earlier, I can afford 2 of these. I can't afford 2 of these. This has a much longer maintenance interval than this does. A expensive 1911 can be as reliable as this Glock. This Sig, in many accounts, there are times when people's 320s went down where my Sig didn't. There were times where people's Glocks or Canics went down that mine didn't. But guess what? There were also times where I used certain brands of magazines that repeatedly failed on me. This is not a manufacturer. This is a general design, which means you get all this aftermarket crap, and it might not all work the same in your gun. I've got like 20 different brands of magazines. Some of them are absolute crap. The owner of one manufacturer told me that his magazines weren't designed for people like me. Okay, so that's one downside to this. I can't afford 2 of them. There are times where the Sig's been great. but there's times where it hasn't because there's so many more variables. I can't afford 2 of these. I'm not going to get my shot placement. We're not talking about stopping power, but I've got 18 rounds in a single mag, which means that normally every single day, all day, unless I'm in bed or in the shower, in which case this is within an arm's reach, I am carrying doggone 25 rounds. Okay, with the same loadout with this, now I'm carrying, now I gotta do math, like 52 rounds. It's a pretty big deal. Am I gonna need 52 rounds? I'll probably be dead long before 52 rounds. But if I get the opportunity to use all those rounds, maybe my math is wrong, but if I get the opportunity to use all of those rounds, I'm gonna sure be glad that I had them. So, to wrap this up, guys, 1911 versus the Glock. I love this pistol. This pistol fits my hand like a glove. It has an awesome trigger. Am I going to be able to run through my 25 rounds without a malfunction? I am quite certain, but I also understand that there's a possibility that I don't, and I've trained towards that possibility. Can I afford 2 of them? No, I cannot. The Glock, much cheaper, very reliable, cheap to fix, easy to fix. I can afford 2 of them. I can mostly train with one and carry the other. If one goes down, I'll carry the other. You probably need to have 2 of your carry pistol. There you go, guys. That's why I made my swap. I hope you enjoyed this video. I'm sure you'll let me know what you think in the comment section below. I'm sure a lot of the people that will let me know what they think in the comment section below didn't even watch more than 2 or 3 minutes of the video, but that's alright. Have a blessed day, and I'll talk to you soon.
He ain't dead smart. Played by the United States Marine Pipe and the Drum Corps.